Hello, hello. My name's Julie. So I'm leading the team call today, trying to who I want to look at. This is so hard. I don't want to look at myself. I don't want to look at just Meredith, and then I want to see everybody. All right. So hello, we're doing a celebration recap, but I wanted to start off with doing 10 to-dos for new associates and then 10 to-dos for up leveling your leadership. So I am a red. I really like to be told what to do and how to do it. So these are kind of your tracks to run on. And then I'll kind of go into my sporadic self of kind of going through my notes and what I learned. And so I know for people that weren't able to be there, that'll be really helpful. To me, that feels all over the place. So you're going to have to bear with me as I do that. But then I want to kind of give 4 or 5 things for homework. I know I give a lot of homework each time. I'm sorry. 4 or 5 things for homework. And then I want to walk you through the next month of team calls and what we're going to be doing. All right. So I just told you what we're kind of like the overview of what we're going to do. So we're going to jump into 10 to-dos for new associates. So I'm going to talk to you like you're a leader in this business. It doesn't mean that you have to have been around for a long time. It just means I'm going to talk to you on how to get someone started correctly and how to enroll them with the intention of them becoming an associate. And if you're watching this and you're like a first-time associate or have just kind of got started, take these to-dos and write them out for yourself. If you've been here a while, take these to-dos and figure out how you can implement this in your flavor, your way of leading out. So the first one for new associates is enroll them in ISA tools. So this is something that took me a long time to even open my brain up to, because I was like, I can YouTube different things, I can piece things together and make it my own, but we don't need to reinvent the wheel. The reason why I love ISA tools is because you can enroll them in what am I trying to say? An automated email. So it will attach their first name in the email that they send them. And on day 1, they'll talk to them about, hey, this is how you do a shake day. Day 3, they're going to say, hey, if you're feeling crummy, this is why you could be feeling crummy. Day 7 comes and they're like talking about, hey, now you've gotten a weekend. Let's try this, new implementation. The emails do it for you. So as a leader, you need to have ISA tools so that you can, number one, you can send email or you can send the videos easily, and you can see it'll text you and show you when they've opened it. So I really like that in ISA tools, but mostly you want to enroll them in that emailing subscription, because the automatic stuff is just, it's like mindless. You don't even have to think about it. They're enrolled in it. They're getting the community and consistency, especially with men. Because when men enroll, they're not going to go to a Facebook page and ask a question about, how to do it well. Maybe some will, but having people enrolled in that emailing subscription is going to be huge. Okay, so the number 2 thing I have for new enrollments is getting them plugged into the Tyler and Kelly emails. So plugging them back into our upline and who that is and why. So tell them, give them a brief description, but Kelly and Tyler are doing an awesome job with their emails of tracks to run on. And so again, it's not something you need to reinvent the wheel on. It's just something you need to get them plugged into, because they'll see firsthand what it's all about, and, kind of decide for themselves of what they want to do with it, Okay, so number 3 is I really like sending people to the freedomlivingteamtraining.com. I know we're working on our own right now, right, Meredith? Of for our group, but getting them plugged in of tracks to run on, step 1, 2, 3. I like plugging people into that so that they can kind of dive into what that looks like and all of it. Yeah, she said currently working on it. Great. Okay, so number 4, get them to fill out the color code test and the 5 love languages. So then have them text you and say, hey, I'm a yellow and I'm an acts of service. And then have a page for them. So you need to have a binder. And so for all your new people, you're going to have their, what am I trying to say? Their map to executive on the back of that. So you're going to have a copy of their map to executive. I'll get to that in a minute. But on the back of that, you want to write their why, and you want to write their color code, and there's not strengths finders, but the 5 love languages. So that you know what type of person they are and how you can love them well, right? Okay, so then all the way down to number 5 is walk them through their back office. So get on the phone with them, make it a priority, and show them what they have. A lot of people are really closed-minded to this. That's what I've found, at least. They don't want to make time for a phone call for that, especially not to like be in front of their computer. Some people are weird about that, but walk them through their back office so that they know what they have. Because if you're like, you know, somebody from Celebration was talking about, if you're not talking about your business, you don't have a business. Some people don't even know what they have, but when they see the back office and they understand everything in it and, you know, behind it all, then they realize like, this is already done for me. All I have to do is just kind of like tap into it. So again, trying to figure out ways that you're not reinventing the wheel. So walk them through their back office. Meredith has a great call on that and like how to do that. So you can look into that if you want to. Number 6, ask for the 3-way calls. So on that 3-way call with your new person, you want to ask lots of questions. You want to lead out of authenticity. You want to love them well. You don't want to just be trying to like dump out everything that you know on them. So ask lots of questions in a 3-way call, and then the person that you're leading, so that new enrollment, they can see how you do it firsthand. Because if they don't hear you do a 3-way call, then that's, I mean, to me, that's one of the best ways to learn, was to hear Meredith do a 3-way call. I didn't, you know, I could kind of fake my way through it, but hearing it and then going, oh, that's how it's done, makes a really big difference. Okay, so number 7 is cast vision for them. So talk about what you see the potential of their life being. Like after you've asked all the questions, you've heard pain points, you've heard, any like anywhere that this business could fit into their life, you could cast it for them and go, you know what? I know that you have talked about your mom and your sister a lot. You know, everybody talks about their mom and their sister. You've talked about your mom and your sister. They would really love to try this. And hey, let me cast, you know, you've got to figure out the right words to say of, let me show you how to do this well. And, you know, you've got to cast it for them. So I can get into that more later with my notes. But number 8 is send the comp plan video of yourself. So if we're going to be a front runner leader, if we're going to lead our own business, the new people that you enroll, if you send them a comp plan video of somebody else, and you're like, again, with the ISA sales tools, if you're like piecing, or without having ISA sales tools, if you're like piecing everything all together, then people are very confused. They're like, you just need to keep it really simple for me. So number 1, this is your business. So you need to lead with your face. And that means doing scary things like leading a team call right now. But you've just got to get used to it. So send the comp plan video of yourself. So I'll get back to that in a minute. I do have a video of a comp plan of myself on the team page. I definitely want to redo it a little bit. But you want to have one that's professional. And that's going to take a lot of practice. So in another category or another column, write down homework. And in that homework spot, I want you to make sure that you make a video of yourself doing the comp plan, consistent and congruent to who you are, not just how somebody else has told you how to do it. But I'm a huge advocate for teaching the comp plan to residual income and not necessarily just the bonuses. So I really like explaining it and saying, hey, yeah, there's over $10,000 of upfront bonuses, but what I really want you to understand is, and then tap them into the cycles and like understanding that, because even this was a big thing. Who was it? Susan Miller said at Celebration, she was like, you guys are in the business, you're like treating this like it's direct sales. We don't do direct sales. We do network marketing. Network marketing is completely different. And so she talked about, finding your 10 people of, what did she say? Consistent consumer, something. I'll find it. It's in my notes. We'll go through it in a minute. But she's like, you need to find your 10 people that you want to run with and stop just looking for the consumers, but, I forgot it again. Never mind. So she was really good about finding your 10 people, right? So, okay, number 9. So fill out their map to executive. We kind of already talked about that a little bit in our binder. So you need to make a binder of all your new people, fill out their map to executive. They have one and you have one. Committed customer coaches. Good grief. Why does that have to be so hard? All right, so they have a copy and you have a copy. And on the back of that, remember, you've got their color code and their 5 love languages. So both of those are free tests. It's easy, but you need to know as a leader how to lead them well. So you know their deadlines, you know who that they're talking to and who you need to set up 3-way calls with, and all of that. Okay, and so then number 10 for the new enrollments, you want to help them develop their own verbiage congruent to them. You don't want to put words in their mouth. You want to send them all the videos, hook them up with, they can learn firsthand and not just secondhand from you. But they help them like develop their why and their verbiage and how they want to do the comp plan, like what it means to them. All of that's really important because you've casted that vision for them, and then you're plugging them into like why they're doing that in the first place. So that would be my 10 kind of steps to success for new enrollments, and how you can like plug people in correctly. I think when I first got started, I was like piecing everything together. I didn't know how to, like, where to do what. I just was just like, what? So this is, for me, this is my 10 of like how I plug people in well. All right, so 10 to-dos to up level your leadership. That's the next thing I want you to take notes on. Number 1, make sure you are on the Tyler and Kelly email subscription for sure. Number 2 is learn the comp plan. So for yourself, you've got to learn the comp plan. And we talked about this a little bit, what direct sales versus multi-level marketing versus network marketing. You need to know the difference between all 3 of those, because especially in this day and age when there's a lot of different opportunities out there for second streams of income, you need to know why Isagenix is the best, because it is. So number 3 is find your niche. And I did a call about this a couple weeks ago, but finding your niche is your former self. So you can ask all these questions to kind of figure out who is your former self, who do you feel called to in developing and like raising up. And once you get crystal clear on who you're looking for, they'll find you for sure. So number 4 is listen to podcasts consistently. If you don't have somebody that you listen to consistently, I highly recommend John Maxwell. I love his podcasts. The first 20 minutes are, teachings, maybe former teachings or recordings. Sometimes they're candid conversations. And then the second 20 minutes, they kind of like unpack that a little bit more. So to me, I really like it because if I only have 20 minutes, I know I'm going to get the really good content in the beginning, and I do that every week. So listen to podcasts consistently is number 4. Number 5, pick one thing to get better at. Man, don't we want to do like everything all at once? We want to get better at it all. And then therefore we're not getting better at anything because, either the ball is too big to start rolling, or we're just kind of so sporadic. I'm a red, but I do definitely have a sporadic side, and I can be like all over the place trying to do it all, but you need to pick one thing. So I'll give you an example, and I know Meredith is going to make me do this. Ugh. In January, for me, I wanted to get better at physical transformation. So after I had 4 kiddos, I wanted to see what it was like to have more energy and mental clarity. And so I was really healthy, I'd say, like really healthy, found a really good system, maintenance mode, I call it, for the last 2 years after having my 4th baby. But in the beginning of January, I was like, I really want to be a lot better with, like, I want to be back where I was before. So I got after it. And I know Meredith is going to make me post like the before and after pictures. But you guys, this is so exciting when you pick one thing. So then you've got a coach, right? So pick one thing that you want to get better at. Figure out who's going to help you get there. You got to have some kind of coach. So my example, CrossFit, I went and enrolled in a CrossFit gym, right? I found people that are going to like push me and make me do it and get up early. And then number 3, you got to stay consistent with the nutrition. So I had the nutrition before. I kind of worked out, not kind of, I did. It was just different. But then up leveling, you've got to change it. You've got to figure out, okay, this makes me very uncomfortable. So what's that next uncomfortable level that you've got to get to? And I will post the picture before and after. Okay. Cause it's really cool. Cause it's like, it's a 6-month, like, wow, that you can really, I felt fit beforehand, but this is like Isagenix whole nother level. It's like crazy. All right. So number 6, journal every day what you learned and how you practically applied it. Have a whole separate journal. Like, it can be small, it can be big, it doesn't matter, but have a whole separate journal of just like, I don't know, I want to be silly and say like Jots from Julie, something silly that you're like, what did I learn today? Because John Maxwell was talking about, his words were much better, but he was saying, evaluated, it's in my notes somewhere, but when you evaluate what you've learned, then that's like the best teacher. So we'll come back to it in our notes, but journal every day what you learned. So I love John Maxwell because he has something, one of his podcasts, he talks about every morning he'd wake up and say 50 times, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. And so one of the things that I told my husband a couple weeks ago is like, I'm just tired of things going too slow. If this is a mindset thing and it has to get to the point where we can't take it anymore and then we'll shift, why do we have to go through all of that to like shift? Why can't we just choose to shift ahead of time? So this is something I've been implementing is do it now, do it now, do it now. So yesterday I had a really hard conversation, it was just a confrontation, but I had a conversation with somebody and I was like, hey, and I just totally went for it, which is very not me, out of my comfort zone. So anyway, whatever, if it's a hard conversation you need to have, if you want to up level your business and professionalism, if you need to have a full body transformation, whatever it is, do it now, do it now, do it now, right? Okay, so number 7 is build your network of consistent consumer coaches. See, it's in my notes somewhere. So find your 10 people that you're going to run with. For me, I think for right now, this year, like the rest of this year, I don't know, maybe this is a mindset thing, but I'm committed to finding my 5 people that I'm going to run with. Like by the end of the year, 5 people minimum. Now, I know Meredith would say like, you need to find your 10 people, like your mindset needs, but okay, she says 5's good. Okay, I was like, oh, I don't know if this is okay to teach, but okay, so find your network of consistent consumer coaches was number 7. Number 8 is write out your weekly goals, your short and your long-term goals. So John Maxwell was talking about a long time ago, your 10-year plan was your long-term goals. He was like, now with how things go so fast, a 2-year goal is your long-term goal because things just change around all the time. So write out your weekly goals of how you want to be consistent, how you want to show up. What are your goals this week? What are your short-term goals and what are your long-term goals? So I know like Isagenix is running some leadership retreats. Is that what they're calling them? So you can pick one of those as kind of your long-term goal if you want, because that's like in April, right? It ends in April. So to me, that's more of a long-term goal of like how I'm going to be committed and yeah, show up for that. I dream bigger than that, of course, but to me, a year long is like a long-term goal. Okay. Number 9, be a catalyst. So be able to tell someone what it would take to make benchmark incomes in cycles. So this is going to come from your homework of being able to write out the comp plan congruent to who you are, but talk in terms of cycles, because if you don't know that, then people don't know the business. People don't know what you're in it for. You know, you've just got to be able to easily talk them through how they have a grocery store, an online grocery store, and how they're eating their overhead. Side note, you guys, I talked to a girl last week. Her and her husband just got out of the military, and they bought a business because in the Forbes magazine, it was like, you know, one of the top 10 businesses to blah, blah, blah. So they were like, okay, we'll invest in one of these businesses. So they invested a lot of money in this business to start it out. And then their overhead, you guys, our overhead is what, $125, maybe $150. Their overhead is it's $50,000 a month. They don't start making money until they have made 50 grand, and then they start making a profit. Isn't that insane? Like when you guys think about, we get to eat our overhead. Do you know what you're saying? Because this is amazing. This is an amazing opportunity. Yes, there's bonuses. Yes, there's all that stuff. But listen, if we are trading our time for money, we're staying in that category of running after PIBs and running after, you know, all of the bonuses that they give us, which are great. But if we change over our mindset to long-term of residual income, that's when we're not trading our time for money anymore. That's when we have an asset, because eating our overhead for $125 a month, when we get to consume it, and we can very easily, it's not something that we're storing for a while and trying to consume, it's easily consumable. That's amazing. You got to like wrap your brain around that. Okay. Number 10, have the future you hold yourself accountable. Ooh, that one's hard. Yikes. Zach Slobin said this at the very end of Celebration. And he was like, hey, you know, your accountability partner isn't who you think. And, you know, he said it a couple times and we're like, okay, all right, well, who is it? And then he said, the future you, what would they say to you if they watched you, you know, watch that other Netflix, blah, 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 or do this instead of aligning with like showing up in your business? Or what would the future you say to your effort right now? For me, it's my involvement in my kids right now. What's the future you gonna say? My kids are very little, so I really want to be present in the time blocks that I have. So when I work, I'm like working. I want to show up and work hard. But when I'm with them, I don't want to continue to be working and doing that all the time. I need to show up really well in the 2 or 3 hour time block that I have, so that when I'm with my kids, I'm very, very present and I'm putting the phone down. So like, what's the future me gonna say to the, you know, former self, and realize like, did you spend your time well? And are you setting yourself up well for the future? Yikes, that one's really hard for me. Okay, so I'm gonna go through, let's see how much time we have. I'm gonna go through a couple of notes I just highlighted through some things. So this is gonna be sporadic. Take some notes as you'd like. The first thing I went to was the John Maxwell lunch. And I'll be really honest, I probably spent around $1,000 to get to Celebration this year. So, you know, paying for airfare, paying for childcare, paying for food, paying for your hotel, all that. Just that lunch in and of itself was worth $1,000. Like the value of getting to events, holy mackerel. I wrote in my journal here somewhere, my husband can never not be at an event again. if this is our family business, because we look at our kids as like our business partners, if we're going to be on family on mission together, then we need to show up together. And the cost, just the value outweighs the cost so much more. And I know people say it all the time, get your people to events. I understand that, but like experiencing it firsthand and going like even one afternoon, for me to say one afternoon was highly worth the investment that I made to be there. It's just, you've got to be there. So I don't know. I wish I had better words for you. Okay, so the other thing I highlighted with John Maxwell, he was talking about if you help other people get what they want, they will help you get what you want. So investing in your leaders, right? So he had also said your average leadership, if your average leadership is like at a 5, this is, you know, is it 5 levels of leadership? Okay, so if your average level of leadership, let's say, is at a 3, then your business is only going to be at a 2. So that's really the law of the lid. Yes. So that was really interesting to know, like, if you're going to lead out and I can say, oh, I'm only like maybe a level 4 leader, then that means you're going to be attracting level 3 leaders. Your business is going to stay at a level 3. So for me this year, I've really gotten to work on myself, because it starts with me. Like, it starts with you. If you're not in the right head space, you know, with your mindset, you're gonna like have a cap. If you don't know enough about the comp plan or the verbiage or whatever, you're gonna have a cap. It doesn't mean you have to like wait to get started. It just means you constantly need to be bettering yourself and starting with yourself, instead of just trying to do direct sales and just sell people stuff. That's not what we're here for. You know, we're here for growing and impact and loving people well. And if you can't up level yourself, then you can't up level and help other people. All right. So, how do I leadership successfully? He said, continually learn, unlearn, and relearn. It's really hard to unlearn, but in our up leveling our leadership, that's what we're doing, is we're unlearning ways that we've done it wrong before and how our mindset keeps us stuck. And we're relearning, the cycles of success. We're relearning how to do this well. So cycles of success, he talked about test, fail, learn, improve. So he was saying learning is unrelated unless you improve. So you're constantly testing new ways to get better. I'll use biohacking as an example. I love biohacking. Do you guys know what this is? I didn't even know this was an actual term. Biohacking is when you're experimenting with your own body on what you like. So test it out. You've got to test it out. If you are in this business, you can try anything. You can try different kinds of intermittent fasting. You can do the 18 and 6. You can try the 1 day a week. You can try the 2 days. Figure out what your body likes. See if it likes the belly buster. Do you like probiotics on an empty stomach? Do you like the vitamins on an empty stomach? What are your best ways that you want to cleanse? Did you know there's a way that you can cleanse with it's carb-based, or you can cleanse with it protein-based? Like, you've got to find out for yourself. You can do keto with Isagenix. Did you know this? You can totally try these things. I don't think keto is a lifestyle. Keto doesn't work for me. But now I have an actual testimony to be able to say, hey, I tried it for 5 weeks and this is what I found. Biohack. You've got to learn and test like what it is that's out there, because there's so many things on the market. I'm not saying test a whole bunch of other products, but find out what your body likes and how you can be consistent. So test and then fail, and then learn, and then improve. So learning is unrelated unless you improve. Oh, here's the best part. It says evaluated experience is the best teacher. So this is why I want you guys to journal, maybe 5-10 minutes every day. Just write down what you learn, because evaluated experience is the best teacher. All right. And he talked about 6 pitfalls that you can, just of a leader, 6 pitfalls. I think he labeled it how to overcome the 6 temptations of highly successful people. And Tyler had asked him to do this. He had only taught this, I don't know, do you say seminar? One other time, like years and years ago, like 20 years ago, right? The first one, he said, the 6 pitfalls are if you stop working on yourself. So you got to go to work on yourself. Number 2, if you stop thinking big and you start playing not to lose. That one's a big one. Number 3, if you stop leading from the front. So this is why we need to make our own videos. We need to own our own business. We need to up level ourselves over and over. If they stop developing others. So he talks about having legs to your legacy. You've got to develop others to be able, he says, the only way you can stay your best is to teach others to do the rest. Love it. So awesome. Number 5, if they stop holding others accountable. This one's really awkward, right? We don't want to hold people accountable because you have their crystal reset, or what am I trying to say? The 10 roadmap to executive. You have that. You have to hold them accountable to that, right? You've got to love them well through their ups and downs, because life is totally going to happen. You don't need to be like on their back pestering them, but you need to love them well through it and like constantly be casting vision to them. Number 6 was if they begin to abandon the basics. So that's why I kind of wrote out, hey, here's your 10 basics of how to plug people in well. I really loved how John Maxwell was saying, they've heard it before maybe, but they've never heard it through you. That just gives me so much value in my leadership and my words and my way of communicating things, because yeah, maybe people have heard it all before, but they haven't heard it from my perspective and they haven't heard it from me. And there's value in how I can show up and explain things to people. So I really loved how he's giving everybody value in that. All right. So the next one I have is the people you're looking for are looking for you. I want to like post that on my wall. Just write it on the ceiling. Okay, so write this down. This is super crazy. In the year 2030, 800 million jobs are going to be displaced. Like, that's a way to start casting vision for people, right? To communicate and say, hey, well, what are you going to do if? I mean, it's awkward. It's hard to say that, but that's you loving people well. You're loving that future self of, future person that is right in front of you, instead of just trying to love the person that's right in front of you. You need to like put them above yourself, say the awkward things, have the awkward questions, because you are loving and valuing the future them more so than what's right in front of you. The second one is $1.5 trillion in debt. The US is in $1.5 trillion of debt. People need finances. I know you've heard it a lot before, but $200 can make a huge difference in a marriage. $500 can absolutely save a marriage. You got to talk to the former problems that are coming up, or not the future problems that could come up, right? Love them with like who they're going to be. In 2032, Social Security runs out. This is huge. Like millennials don't even understand this concept, I don't think, of what that really means for them, because they're so like, doesn't affect me now, I'll get to it later, but casting vision again for like the problems that they're going to face in the future. All right, let's see other notes. Don't want to be too sporadic, but
we only have 3 minutes left, FYI. It's going to shut down, otherwise you got to log back on.
All right, well, I'll go over more notes next week maybe, or something. We'll figure it out. Can I give you a couple things for homework? Thank you for telling me that. Number 1, make your residual income video. Number 2, look into Easy Texting, ISA Tools, and ISA Pulse. You want to up level your professionalism. You need to invest in your business. Easy Texting is 10 cents a text. You can totally do it. ISA Tools is maybe $10 a month. And I just need to learn ISA Pulse. I don't know anything about it. That's for me. That's my homework. I need to learn it. Pick one thing you're going to up level. And then number 4 is, who wants to join me in the next 100-day challenge of putting fear in its place? I know, Meredith's so excited. You guys, I've let fear rule my life way too long. So yesterday I started by having a difficult conversation, by initiating a difficult conversation, right? It's scary. I don't want to do these things. Today I can totally qualify leading a team call as doing scary things. But mark it out. If you want to do 100 days with me of doing something scary, this doesn't mean you have to, what was the girl's name?
Michelle.
She somehow has a lot of money to be able to do all her scary things because she was traveling all over the world. She's skydiving. She's like, it was awesome. I love it. But I was like, I don't know if I can do that 100 days. Did she do them 100 days in a row?
Yeah, she did.
Dang, that's a lot. Okay.
60 seconds.
So, what?
60 seconds.
Oh, okay. So for the next month, this is what we're going to do with our team calls. Next week, we're going to talk about why we do what we do. And then we're going to talk about knowing the comp plan. And then we're going to talk about utilizing the products. And number 4, leadership development. And for me, I want to cycle through those. And I want to call other people up to lead in those places. And so once a month, this is how we're going to be able to plug in our team and to be able to like develop our leaders underneath us, because we can go first and set up this rotation, and then everybody has value in what they say because they're going to say it a little bit different. People are going to learn very different. So that's the rotation that we're going to do. Do your homework.